The idea that smacking puts children at risk of significant physical harm, so say leading doctors, as they call for an end to the Victorian-style punishment. It's an august organisation, the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health, also said those opposing a smacking ban should look at the scientific data. It says, they claim, it will show physical and emotional damage. Let's put that to Simon Calvert, who's with the Be Reasonable campaign. And the Be Reasonable campaign is seeking what in this area? Good morning.
Good morning. Keep the law as it is.
And although this august body, I say again, says it's causing a significant physical harm, possibly emotional harm as well, Mr. Calvert.
So it is an august body, and so it's disappointing that you hear them using a rhetoric like Victorian punishment. Look, let's be absolutely clear about this. Victorian punishments, like beatings, are and have long been illegal. The reasonable chastisement defence is what they want to repeal. The reasonable chastisement defence, by definition, only protects parents when they do something that is reasonable. So, the classic example is the mum who taps the tot on the back of the hand. That's a reasonable chastisement. Unreasonable chastisement is already a criminal offence. So the law is clear. If a parent does anything that leaves more than transient reddening of the skin, that's already a criminal offence. So the idea that there are Victorian punishments that are currently legal in England is ridiculous. And so it should lead people to question the Royal College. And again, their use of the term sort of research as if this is settled. The fact is that most of the research that does indeed show that children can experience depression and other negative outcomes is talking about children who are beaten. It's research which doesn't make a distinction between children who are beaten and children in families where, you know, what I'm describing happens, which is where mum calmly explains to the tot and taps on the back of the hand. So the question I have for the Royal College is, what good do you think it will do that child for his mother to be prosecuted as a child abuser for doing nothing more than tapping him on the back of the hand? Because that's what the law change you're advocating means in reality.
Why should an adult have a right to smack a child? I don't have a right to smack you.
That's because you're not my parent and I'm not a child. No. You also don't have a right to set me on the naughty step. Right. You don't have a right to send me to my room. No. You don't have a right to make me sit in my car seat. You don't have a right to make me eat my greens. If we can't accept that the relationship between you and me is different between the relationship between a mum and her toddler, we are in grave danger of making very, very silly decisions about the criminal law.
Do you think you're on the wrong side of an argument that would seem, if we look elsewhere in the world, I have a note here, 67 countries have adopted smacking bans, and it says here a further 20 looking to do so. Is yours rather an antiquated view, Mr. Calvert?
Well, I'm not sure what antiquated, age, old, young has got to do with it. It's whether it's right or wrong. And so the reality is that these 67 countries, I've looked at the legislation in as many of them as I could, and typically they're not doing what the Royal College wants us to do, which is to make mums who tap their tots on the back of the hand into criminals. Those countries use civil law, they use laws that don't have enforcement mechanisms, they use a whole range of techniques, many of them not criminal law. So to claim that in England, removing the reasonable chastisement defence to criminalise mums is the same as what they've done in 67 other countries is legally illiterate.
Lastly, to those who say you're teaching young people, children, to use violence at difficult times, how would you respond to that argument?
So again, children whose parents beat them, for sure, learn to physically attack other people. But the idea that a mum tapping the tot on the back of the hand...
Well, it's not always going to be a tap, is it? It might be slightly hard. I know there are laws to protect it, but there will be sometimes that it's more than a tap. And when surely you've lost the argument. If you tap the child, have you not lost the argument?
So no. I mean, I don't think parents should lose their temper with their kids. Look, a parent will talk to their kids in ways that are designed to get them to cooperate in situations. And there are parents who will go over the top and they will say horrible things to their kids. I would be more concerned about that kind of thing, but we're not talking about criminalising that. And those kids learn by being spoken to in a horrible way to speak to other people in horrible ways. There are other things that we could talk about, but the idea that we're making society better by criminalising families where the mum has done nothing more than tap the tot on the back of the hand is crazy. It's a distraction. Let's talk about the real issues.